Nigel Farage is with us, European Parliament member, Fox News contributor, and, of course, the leader in the Brexit movement and a friend of the show. So I go down there, and, it was getting a little tense down there. So they didn't particularly like me. I had no idea I was that well known here in Great Britain, but apparently I am. It was surprising. Not a lot of people didn't particularly like me, and I don't think they particularly like you either as the leader of Brexit, at least this particular crowd.
No, they absolutely hate me. And in fact, I've been dodging them all day. I was even dragged out of a building through the fire escape later on when they found out where I was. But, did you notice the accents of all of the people in that crowd? They're all upper middle class with rich mummies and daddies. They've all got names like Jocasta or Hugo or Sebastian. None of them actually work. I mean, really, they're the least representative group of the British people I've ever come across. And they're the same people that attend the anti-Brexit marches and all the rest of it. I honestly, please, in America, don't take it too seriously.
It wasn't as big as they had anticipated. It was, and here's the thing that I can tell you is when I asked people, well, what don't you like about Donald Trump? They had no answer. They just, and every single person, and I'm not making this up that I talked to, because I have to get close to them, they were absolutely drunk and wasted. So it seemed more like a party than anything else to me. And when I'd ask him about Donald Trump, well, he doesn't want open borders. And I'm like, why should we have open borders? We're a nation of laws. And it wasn't like the most intelligent crowd. It seemed like a lot of people there for the party.
As you say, it's a day out and quite a lot of dilated pupils, if you know what I mean. All sorts of substances being used. No, I mean, we've just had wall-to-wall negativity in this country about Donald Trump. Very, very few people out there put in a positive case. And remember, amongst our political figures, Sean, I was literally the only one that congratulated him and supported him during the presidential campaign. So they've just had it drip-fed into them that somehow this guy is the most evil, sexist, racist person on earth. As you say, when you ask them, they can't tell you why.
All right, let me ask about Theresa May and what's going on with Boris Johnson. Does Theresa May hang on as prime minister? And is the president right that she really has wrecked Brexit, which she said earlier today is going to happen in 2019?
Well, it's remarkable. Somebody must wind her up at the back. She must actually be a robot, not a human being, because she keeps on coming out with this phrase, we're leaving the European Union, we're taking back control of our borders, our laws, our money, and you just want to cheer. And then you see the detail of what she does, and she betrays every single aspect of this. Whether she thinks just by lying to us, somehow she can get away with it, I don't know. I will tell you, I'm convinced of one thing. If she remains as Prime Minister, we will not get the Brexit that we voted for. And I'm very interested that a piece of polling out this afternoon shows that 51% of people think Donald Trump was right to criticise her over Brexit. And I've just got everything crossed that she's got rid of pretty blooming quickly.
Well, what about Boris Johnson? Does he have a chance?
Well, Boris, who President Trump called my great friend. It's worth remembering that Boris was very disparaging about Trump in the election campaign.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, time moves on. Boris did back Brexit. He came to the party very late, but he did back Brexit. He's now resigned as Foreign Secretary. He is making a speech in the House of Commons, a resignation speech on Monday, and I think it is from that speech that people will decide whether he looks like the next Prime Minister or not. Hey, I'd rather have him than Theresa May any day.
Let me ask you, so the president first met in Brussels with NATO leaders, and from the get-go, the opening breakfast, the president was brutally honest, and that is that the other NATO nations, aligned nations, are not paying their fair share. And here's the United States paying the bulk of money of the $1 billion that they spend every year on NATO. Well, we pay in the United States over $700 billion of it. By the way, Great Britain's paying their fair share. It was supposed to be 2%. They pay over that. They're the next highest in terms of actual dollars and amount, but it's significantly less. I think it's about $61.5 billion. And then you have Germany. That's one of the main reasons for the alliance is they want to prepare against hostile nations like Russia. And unfortunately, you have the German chancellor that's making, these billions and billions and billions of dollars of energy deals where they're allowing themselves to become 70% dependent on the lifeblood of the German economy. Why would we do that, especially when you have somebody like the United States? We have an abundance of natural gas that we would gladly export over to our friends in Western Europe.
Yeah, I mean, look, the NATO thing's been going wrong for a long, long time. Way too much freeloading going on. And there's a different dimension to this, too, which nobody talks about, which is, of course, that the European Union itself intends to build its own army, its own air force, its own navy, and it's deluding itself that it can do it on 1% of GDP, not 2%. So there are quite a few big clashes going on here. But I think Trump was absolutely right to say what he said. I wish Theresa May had been a bit more fulsome in her support. Whether or not Donald Trump's closing address, where he sort of claimed a great success had happened and the countries were going to pay up, whether or not it does happen, I think still remains to be seen.
Well, the NATO General Secretary actually said they had a record revenue year in large part because President Trump was demanding that other nations begin to pay their fair share, and if they get in arrears, they're still responsible for the payment.
Yeah, well, let's hope that's the case. And isn't it ironic that so much of the mainstream media says that President Trump somehow is in league with Vladimir Putin? The last thing Putin wants is for NATO to be strong, and Trump, I think, is making it stronger.
Do you believe that?
No.
Or the media is saying that? No, because I think just the opposite. If you pay very close attention, and it's interesting, we've got some things going on in the United States. The special counsel and Rod Rosenstein, the deputy attorney general. Today they announced the indictment of 12 Russian intelligence officers in the lead up to this, which the timing is very dubious to me. But putting that aside for just a second, if people would listen to what President Trump was saying to Angela Merkel and Germany, he was saying you cannot give over so much control to Vladimir Putin, an unsavory character, and a hostile regime in Russia. You can't become 70% dependent on all your energy from them and then, ask us to pay the bulk of monies to protect you if something goes wrong here. And now that America has opened up its vast energy resources, it would be quite easy for Germany to now begin to import a lot of their energy needs from us, probably get a better rate, and also at the end of the day create American jobs, but also would be better for security and the NATO alliance, and it would devastate the Putin economy in the process. I'd be very nervous if I was Vladimir Putin today.
Well, exactly. He wants to take away these billions of dollars the Germans are sending them. He wants NATO to be strong, and I think he's making it stronger. He also, it's worth remembering, did expel a lot of Russian diplomats after the Salisbury Novichok poisoning. Just this consistent idea, and we saw it today from some of the questioning. NBC questioning the president today in the UK. There's still this obsessive, crazy idea that somehow Trump colluded with the Russians and is on Vladimir Putin's side, and it's just nonsense.
It's nonsense because he just basically talked about the ability of Germany to wreck the entire Russian economy, which would then put the regime of Putin in jeopardy. Nigel Farage, great friend of the program. I think we're going to see you on Hannity tonight. We look forward to it, and I enjoyed going out amongst the protesters here in London. It was a lot of fun. We'll see you tonight in studio. Thank you for being with us, sir.
See you later. Thank you.